go.
Welcome back to the Bill Brothers. I'm Javier.
Daniel.
He's back. All right, so we're here for day 2 of the E36 5-speed swap. On day 1, we went ahead and removed all the exhaust of the car. We got as far, we removed the heat shield, and we got kind of stuck with the drive shaft. Today we've got some impact wrenches and some other tools Danny brought, and hopefully we'll pick up.
Yeah, so basically what we're doing right now, we lifted the car a little bit higher. I want to say we've got it, I don't know, about maybe 15 inches off the ground, 15 and a half, something like that. So we try to ensure that, we have something, kind of ready in case we have any accidents or anything like that. So we have a couple of jacks just kind of stationed in different areas in the event that something kind of goes out of place. So safety first. All right, good. So we're going to give it another go, and I guess stay tuned.
Yeah. Okay. All right, so we ended up getting these sockets, these swivel sockets for our impact gun. This will kind of help us get the torque we need out of this particular bolt. I don't know how I was able to actually get it without a torque wrench, without an impact gun, but my luck ran out last time, so these are the ones we're going to be using today, and hopefully we can just get these things out of here quickly today. Alright, so this drive shaft is finally loose, all the bolts are out. We're going to tackle all the center bearing bolts here, this bracing bracket, and we should be able to pull the drive shaft out after that. Alright, okay, so I went from here.
So it just pops out after that?
Exactly, it'll unhook from the back,
okay,
and it should come down.
Alright, so we're definitely going to need 2 sets of hands then.
Yeah. So from
so
here,
the front part,
it's that front
once
part.
the weevil comes out,
the weevil's gonna stay hanging there.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Porque tiene un lip que that'll catch onto.
No problem. So we'll slide it down.
So
and
esto,
out. Down and out, front, and then out. So we do this. So I kind of feel like
so
good drop. Is that right?
Okay.
Nice.
Alright, so alright, that's it. Let's go lower. And then this should unhook from the back. It should be unhooked from the back. Can you check the back? Oh. There should be nothing holding it anymore on either side, actually. So I don't understand.
You want to do that little shimmy trick? Or the front first should be focused on?
I don't know.
Like this.
There we go.
Hey.
You got it.
Good?
Yeah.
Alright.
Nice.
Cool. I'm going to slide this out.
So this just comes off. Woo! All right, after what it feels like forever, the drive shaft is out, and we have it laying right here. One of the things that I wanted to point out to everybody, because it took me forever to find it in the forums, I don't think it's discussed enough, is that the rear section of the drive shaft is used on all E36 models, at least at sedans and the coupes. I'm not 100% sure on the TIs, but that is the same on all models. Only the front part that you see here changes based on if the car is automatic or manual, if it's a 325 or it's a 328. So in this case, I ended up with my 5-speed kit. Got the new drive shaft, which, you know, I'm gonna lay it right next to it, the new front part, and you can see how much longer it is because the 5-speed transmission is a lot smaller than the auto that's in it. So this particular shaft works on the 325s only. The 328 front half will work on the M3 model because apparently they all use the same ZF manual transmission. So remember, the 325 is unique, and the 328 and M3 share the same front part. So just a quick tip.
We're back. So next steps, we're gonna have to drain the transmission, disconnect the reverse switch, the oil cooler lines, and the oil cooler itself, and the oxygen sensor. So we'll try to get some good shots of that. Hopefully you guys can see that. It's kind of a long process, so we'll probably maybe forward through the oil draining part. So I guess that'll be it. But yeah, other than that, I think that'll probably take maybe another 20 minutes or so, and stick around.
All right, so we're back. Just to let you know where we're at, we ended up draining out all the transmission fluid, and then we ended up taking out the nice transmission oil cooler from the engine bay. And the good thing about this is it's only held in by one 13mm screw.
So we messed up and ran out of space on the camera. Luckily, you didn't miss a thing.
Okay, so we're looking to trace down these transmission cooler lines, and the way they end right here, you're gonna see that the shift linkage is right here. So we might as well go ahead and disconnect this. The good thing is, once you disconnect this this bolt right there, the shifter up top and the main console is going to be completely disconnected from the transmission. So it's really neat because then we can still remove the transmission and not have to mess with anything up in the cabin yet. So we're gonna go ahead and disconnect that bolt and hopefully pull this whole section down, which will free us access to, we can see these lines and disconnect them from the transmission.
So quick update. So Javier is actually relaxing because he's pretty tired. He just finished sawing off the 2 lines that we said we probably weren't going to saw off. So basically we took just a hacksaw blade by itself without the handle and just kind of he went to town on those 2 lines until they finally came out. I think the hard part why they wanted us to saw those lines were the fact that they're hard lines and you can't really just slip them out, you know, and kind of snake them out of there easily. So it's easier to just kind of cut them at certain locations so you don't have to remove any suspension components to be able to remove those. So it definitely does make the job a little bit easier. So if you're doing that at home, just keep in mind that, you know, you probably will be able to cut those in multiple places and then eventually slide them out. So it makes for a much easier job. So I guess the next thing left for us to do is basically to look at the bolts over in the bell housing to see how we're going to slip flip those, and there's a procedure there that we're probably going to talk about it in a little more detail, you know, as soon as we figure it out, which is probably trying to turn, you know, maybe the crank over to line up, you know, the bolts so we can see them a little bit better. So we'll tell you about that in a little bit. So stick around, and hopefully that won't be too difficult. So wish us luck.
All right. Okay, I wanted to show you this. I don't think I've ever seen pictures or video of this particular procedure, so it was kind of exciting this to have something brand new to show you guys. So we are actually facing from the we are actually sitting in front of the car right now, looking towards the back. If you can pan out, you can see where the missing drive shaft and everything. So you kind of orient yourself. At the beginning, on the left-hand side of the engine, you're gonna see that there is gonna be a cover that we're gonna remove, and we removed it here. You might see it right here on the floor, this cover right there, and it was right in that oval looking hole that you see up there. Okay, through that hole we're gonna be accessing the torque converter. So there's three 16 millimeter bolts, or at least according to what I've read. We haven't actually tried it, which we're gonna be accessing and removing from that hole before we actually try to take the bell housing out. The funny part is that we need to actually turn the engine to keep spinning those bolts round, so we have access to all three of them. So we have to go into the engine bay, use our breaker bar, and with a 22 millimeter into the crankshaft, and actually start manually turning the engine so that we can see those bolts and start removing them. Welcome back to the Build Bros. I'm Javier, and this is day 3 of the E36 5-speed swap. In preparing for this day, I realized that some of the write-ups that I was reading mentioned that we had to take the intake manifold off of this, and I never understood why, so I was completely going to ignore it. And then it kind of hit me finally when I realized that it's because of the starter. So if you have a pre-96 E36, your starter's not going to be threaded, so that means there's going to be a bolt holding it in the back of the bell housing that you can only access through taking away the intake manifold. So today we're kind of backtracking a little bit, and we're going to be doing the intake manifold removal in order to get to that bolt. If you are lucky enough to have a post-96 car, you should be able to reach it from the bottom, at least from the write-ups that I've seen. But you know, in our case, we got to do it the hard way, and we're going to be taking off the intake manifold. Alright, so one of the things that I wanted to point out while we're here, I like to start by taking off this cover, and then we're going to work our way to the ECU cover as well as the automatic transmission cover. We won't need that automatic transmission once we finish this, so we might as well just pull it out while we're there anyway, since we have to take it out to make some room for this cable so we can reach the bolts in the intake manifold when we get to it. Hopefully you'll see the procedure. I figured I like to start here because the air cover and everything will go really quick, so I just rip the bandage and I always start up here. Alright, so this is, now that our cowling cover is completely out and this is kind of loose right there, the ECU's here, we're going to go ahead and remove the automatic transmission computer. Then we're going to go tackle these covers here, and then we're going to hit up straight to the air intake and throttle body disconnections. Just wanted to point out that when you take the ECU out, I mean, you got to move this a little bit out of the way. It doesn't go out completely. You should be able to just pull the ECU out. But the cool thing about the transmission computer is that it has a little bracket, so you need to push down and out, so that way it'll come out, so it'll unlock from its place there, and it should be able to snap out Well, in my case, hold on. Maybe not. Oh. Oh, the whole point is not to bring the whole bracket down. Huh. Wow. Never mind. This should not be that loose. There it goes. Took a little longer than expected, but hey. Then we should be able to just disconnect this, and I don't like to leave this cable just kind of hanging around here, so tape over it or somewhere, something. I don't know what I've decided to do right now, but most likely we're gonna unplug this here and then just tape over the connector so that way no water gets in there or something like that. But we'll just have an extra connector in the car. Okay. But we don't want that to get wet. Okay, now that the air, what the hell is that called? All right, now that the air filter box and the MAP sensor has been removed, the next thing we're going to tackle is the throttle body. So all we're going to do is remove the 4 bolts that are here and leave this kind of hanging in there. Then we're going to start disconnecting like bolts that are hitting under here. There's one here, and then the 2 fuel lines, which are very important. So make sure you don't ever confuse which one's the incoming and the outgoing lines, or the high pressure and low pressure lines. And then we're going to disconnect also from here the oil separator connector. And yeah, so you'll see a little bit of that. Okay, so we're back under the car. We opened up, we got the intake manifold off, and we were able to see the starter bolts that are going to be in our way when we try to remove the bell housing. So we're back under the car again. We're going to remove this cross beam right here. Hopefully, once we remove that, we're able to kind of tilt the transmission down slightly. So we have it kind of held by our trusty jack and wooden blocks here just to see how far we can literally tilt this transmission down and hopefully reach those Torx bolts to remove the bell housing. So, and this is our next step now. Alright, so we ended up taking down the crossbeam bracket here, which kind of gave us enough of a leeway for the transmission to kind of dip down a little bit. We used this makeshift super long extension here. I would say roughly around 3 feet. I've heard it could be a little bit longer than this. But with this, we literally snaked it all the way over here in there to get to the starter bolts. So my brother was then holding the bolt on the other side, and we were able to kind of use this breaker bar to be able to kind of break that loose. And we've already done about 3 of the bolts up top. So we kind of decided to tackle the hardest ones first. But it gave us enough clearance. So far, it seems like we're on a roll. See where we're going from this. Bang, we're back. We're done with the battle, and we're joined by our third bro here. Finally, Manny finally made it here. And if it wasn't for him, that we would have never been able to finish this up. But the transmission is out. I don't know if we can see this here, so hold on. There we go. So you can see how much bigger the old one is than the new one. So the auto is way bigger and way heavier here. And you can see that it's seen its better days already. There's a couple things that we found. What was it that we found, Manny? The bolts?
Yeah, the bolt to the gasket, make sure you take it off. It will keep your transmission inside.
So yeah, the 10 millimeter bolt that we ran into, that we couldn't figure it out. So what else did we run into? Yeah, you're gonna have to play with like 2 jacks to take it, tilt it, to be able to pull it out at an angle. Yeah, it took us about 20 minutes to be figuring that out and maneuvering.
The cable that we had for, you know better than this.
Yes,
that got wrapped around the transmission.
The main harness cable was still connected to the transmission when we were pulling it out, and we didn't realize it until the last minute. So, but luckily we took it out before we tore it up, so not too bad.
Torque converter stayed inside.
Yeah,
So,
we have one
that was
issue.
odd.
Yeah, you're right. Like for some reason, the torque converter is still in the transmission, and although we unbolted it, so that's the next step. So hopefully we'll end the day today with finding out what the heck happened with the torque converter. Hopefully it's an easy thing. We'll see. If not, then we're almost done for the day, and hopefully we'll pick up tomorrow with the interior disassembly, pedal disassembly, and hopefully a little bit of the something another. What the heck? Hopefully, yeah. I'm running out of power finally, so maybe we'll edit that out. But yeah, so hopefully we'll be back tomorrow.
Peace.